What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool transfer news video where we will talk about Denis Zakaria, the Borussia Dortmund powerhouse defensive midfielder, because he only has 1 year left on his contract after this season is finished. So he's on his way out of Borussia Mönchengladbach and Liverpool are heavily linked with him. We want to sign him. We are apparently favorites for his signature. Let me know, do you think Liverpool need a midfielder to replace Wijnaldum? I think we certainly do. And Denis Zakaria could cost only 35 million pounds and he would be, I think, even cheaper with just 1 year left on his contract, so it would be an absolute bargain. But first I want to give you guys the breaking news that Upamecano is going to sign for Bayern Munich. It's a transfer blow for Liverpool, but Liverpool just didn't have the money to pay his release clause, which was 37.5 million pounds, especially now that we signed Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies for a combined 20 million. If we exercise our option to buy Kabak at the end of the season, then the two players will have cost only 20 million pounds, and I think it was a more sensible and financially wise move to do this, even though Upamecano is probably a better player than Ozan Kabak right now. Who knows, in 4 or 5 years Ozan Kabak could be as good or even better than Upamecano. So first, Marcus Christensen, a journalist working for The Guardian, said and wrote an article that Bayern Munich lead the race for Upamecano, but also Chelsea and Liverpool are very interested. And then Fabrizio Romano said Upamecano will 100% leave RB Leipzig in the summer. He's not joining Manchester United. Liverpool and Chelsea are interested, but no official bid yet. And Bayern Munich are pushing, and he's the main target. And Mohamed Simakan of Strasbourg will be his replacement at RB Leipzig. And then Fabrizio Romano also said Bayern Munich have been ready for months to pay the release clause of Upamecano, and they are in contact with his agent and they offer a 5-year contract to Upamecano. So Bayern are leading the race and Dio would like to join, but the deal is not completed, signed yet. So it's a work in progress. So it's not like 100% that Upamecano will join Bayern. At the moment it's like 90 or 95%. And Salihamidzic just confirmed to Bild that Upamecano has reached an agreement with Bayern Munich on personal terms, and Salihamidzic said, I can confirm Upamecano will play for Bayern next season. We are very happy. So the deal will be signed and completed in the coming months when the release clause will be paid to RB Leipzig. Upamecano received more than one approach from Chelsea. Liverpool were planning for a move in the summer, but he's joining Bayern Munich until 2026 on a 5-year contract because they immediately satisfied his requests. So the deal to be signed in the next months, when Bayern will pay the release clause. You can argue whether Liverpool made a good or a bad decision on this, but I think because Liverpool needed a centre-back right now, signing Ozan Kabak on loan with an option to buy was the perfect solution for Liverpool. And also Ben Davies is an insurance policy, because now we have all 4 of our centre-backs out injured: Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez and Fabinho. So we will need Ozan Kabak to step up against Leicester, and I don't think Ben Davies will play in defense. So either it will be Jordan Henderson again in defense or Nat Phillips. We shall wait and see. Sport Bild newspaper, the German credible newspaper, is reporting that Liverpool are one of the interested clubs in Borussia Mönchengladbach's Denis Zakaria, whose contract expires at the end of next season. So Borussia Mönchengladbach have to sell Zakaria if they want to get money for him. And I think it will be a cut price deal, because normally when the player has just 1 year left on his contract, the buying club can argue, why should we pay the full price for Zakaria, whose market value according to Transfermarkt is around 35 million pounds? Why should we pay the full price when he can start negotiating with clubs in the January transfer window, after the summer transfer window? Zakaria suffered a serious knee injury last March and he returned to action in November, but he has been playing regularly ever since. According to the report, the defensive midfielder is yet to regain his best form for Borussia Mönchengladbach after recovering from the knee injury. However, his class is undisputed. And yes, Mönchengladbach tried to extend Zakaria's contract, but so far he refused any extension, so it's pretty apparent that he wants to make the jump, wants to make the next step in his career. And this would force Mönchengladbach and their sporting director Max Eberl to offload the player, and signs are now pointing to a sale in the summer. They already have a perfect replacement lined up, having signed Kone from Toulouse last month. Sports Bills also explain that Liverpool are interested in Zakaria, and Atletico Madrid also are interested in him. Man City are also in the picture, with Man City and Liverpool described as being very, very keen on Zakaria. The transfer is on the way this summer for the player, and the probability that he will stay is only 10%, so 90% is that he's leaving Borussia Mönchengladbach at the end of the season. And as it stands, Wijnaldum will leave Liverpool at the end of the season, so Liverpool need to find a replacement for Zakaria. And yes, we have Curtis Jones coming up, but I think we need more, especially this season should teach Liverpool a valuable lesson, that you always need one more player in the squad as a buffer, because there could be an injury crisis in any department. This season it was the centre-back department, who knows? Next season we could have 3, 4, 5 midfielders injured, and then we will need every player that we have in the squad. Zakaria's playing style is not as similar as Wijnaldum. He's more a defensive midfielder, not a box-to-box midfielder, but Henderson can play as a box-to-box midfielder, so I think Zakaria could take over from the Henderson role in midfield, and we could play Thiago further forward, we could play Jordan Henderson further forward. They have the skills to do that, and I think Henderson could score a lot more goals if he's given the license to go forward. And of course, yes, I know that we have Fabinho as our main defensive midfielder, but you always need another player like Zakaria. And I think Zakaria, being only 24, Jurgen Klopp can mold him and teach him into a whole host of different kinds of midfielders. I'm not saying that he will become a Steven Gerrard style attacking midfielder banging 15-20 goals in every season, but he could also turn into a box-to-box midfielder because he has the physicality, the stamina to do that. So Denis Zakaria is from Switzerland, so he is good friends with Xherdan Shaqiri, which could also help ease his way into the Liverpool team, and he's just 24 years old, as I said. He started off his career at Servette, which is a Swiss club, and then he went to Young Boys, which is now the strongest club in Switzerland. They used to be number 2 behind Basel, but things have changed in the Swiss football recently, and he signed for Borussia Mönchengladbach 4 seasons ago, if you count this season as well, and he always played around 33-32 games on average. And this season he already played 12 games for Borussia Mönchengladbach, scoring 1 goal. He usually scores 2 or 3 goals every season that he played so far, so he can get forward and he can score. And for Switzerland he also played 28 games, scoring 3 goals, so he has experience. He played probably in the last World Cup as well for Switzerland. So I think that if the price is right, if we can get him for like 25 million or something like that, then Zakaria would be a fantastic player. I've watched him grow into an absolute beast of a midfielder. He's a really, really strong, athletic, fast defensive midfielder with a really, really good physique, and you need that in the Premier League. And he's also pretty tall, around 190 centimeters tall, so I think that he would be a fantastic signing for Liverpool. And Jurgen Klopp said that Ben Davies and Ozan Kabak are making big steps, and they could be in line to start against Leicester later today. This is what Jurgen Klopp said about our centre-backs, our new centre-backs. They have really thrown themselves into everything that is ahead of them, and which is what a defender should do. Both Ben and Ozan are calm people, willing to learn and have a great attitude. They are making big steps in adapting to the way that we play. Again, that's important. We have still a clear way to defend, which is important. If both of them would be on the pitch, then there are still 9 players used to what we have done before. If 2 players do something completely differently, then that would lead to a strange situation. It's all good so far. And now we have to make a decision. Do we put both of them in at Leicester or just one of them? We have to change again because of Fabinho and his injuries. He has a small muscle injury, but he has no chance to feature against Leicester. And now we will see which solution we will take. And Jurgen Klopp doesn't have to necessarily put in either of them actually into the defense, but going with Henderson and Nat Phillips would be another risk, a different risk, because Ozan Kabak and Ben Davies are inexperienced at the Premier League level, but Nat Phillips is very slow and Reece Williams is just, I don't think he's Premier League level player. I'm sorry to say that, but I don't think he is. And Nat Phillips against Jamie Vardy, that it gives me nightmares, that matchup, because as I said, Phillips is pretty slow and Jamie Vardy is one of the fastest strikers still in the Premier League. And the Leicester-Liverpool result could have huge ramifications and it could affect Liverpool's whole Premier League season, because Leicester are 3 points ahead of Liverpool. So were Liverpool to lose this game, Leicester could go 6 points clear and Chelsea could overtake us as well, because Chelsea are just 1 point behind Liverpool, because Chelsea picked up 2 wins in a row in the Premier League since took over, and Liverpool recently lost some games. So we lost 2 games in a row. So our 7-point gap against Chelsea melted into just a 1-point gap, 1-point lead. And Sky Sports pundit Clinton Morrison says that this is the perfect game to play Leicester. They have just lost Justin, their most amazing fullback. They already don't have Castagne. They are 2 key players for Leicester. If Salah is on his game like he can be, then I think he will be licking his lips thinking, who am I going to play against here? Licking his lips thinking he has a great opportunity to score. I think it will be one hell of a game and a perfect game for Liverpool. They have too much quality to drop out of the top 4. Yes, on paper we have too much quality, but with half of our starting 11 out injured and with all our experienced senior centre-backs out injured, it changes everything. It levels the playing field, and now, you know, Leicester, Chelsea are on the same level as Liverpool, whereas last season they were nowhere near our level. And also The Athletic came out with a very interesting article saying that one Liverpool dressing room source said, no one wants to say it publicly because you get accused of making excuses, but it is a lot harder without the fans. The games are soulless. Pandemic football is soulless. Every one of them feels the same. All the motivation has to come from within the players. Even just having a few thousand fans back in a few games, in for a few games at Anfield before Christmas, made a massive difference. But that's the situation, and that's the same for everyone. It probably affects Liverpool a little bit more than anybody else, but it's not an excuse, it's just an explanation why it has been a lot more difficult for Liverpool. It's a perfect storm, if you like, with injuries and the pandemic football and COVID and everything just affected Liverpool. And you can see that all the other teams are now getting injuries all around the pitch. Leicester City recently suffered even more injuries. So I think probably the Leicester-Liverpool game will be a high-scoring game, and both teams probably will score because the defenses are just not on top. And there was actually a psychologist, Dan Abrahams, who gave an interview saying that losing Virgil van Dijk has broad psychological ramifications for Liverpool. He said it makes a difference to the emotional temperature in a dressing room, and it can result in anxiety. There are people who are game changers with their mere presence. Their presence alone can lead to a release of testosterone in other players' bodies and the adrenaline to perform. It's that feeling of looking across, seeing someone like Virgil van Dijk and knowing he's going to help you. If you are a defender who has played next to another defender hundreds of times before, you have that understanding about what they are going to do, where they are going to be. That's going to make a difference to your perception action. Without someone like that, confidence and understanding reduces and executing game plans becomes harder. And that's actually a good point. I think we lost a lot more than just Virgil van Dijk on the pitch. His presence and also his leadership qualities were really outstanding, and he was a leader in the dressing room, off the pitch and on the pitch, and he helped in all kinds of ways. But we have to really use the situation to our best of the abilities, and really Liverpool need to push on and just try to win as many games as possible for the next 15 games. There is still 45 points to play for Liverpool, so let's just try to get as many of them as we can, and then hopefully we will be able to finish in the top 4. And Fulham manager Scott Parker has actually launched a frustrated outburst over a tribunal's ruling that Liverpool must pay just 1.5 million for Harvey Elliott, and he said that it's absolute madness. I was disappointed in it all, because this is a player that had been developed at Fulham, at this football club, for a long time. We gave him his debut. You don't want to go and spend 20-30 million pounds on players. That's why the academy is so important for us. We want to develop these players, but we have developed that player for a big club to take him. 4 million quid for a player we developed and thought the world of, to then leave like he did is madness, really. Harvey Elliott has the potential to be a top class football player, but Liverpool have taken him off us for minimal numbers for what he is capable of. It's fair to say that for Liverpool this is a very good outcome. That was another, Neil Jones, the Liverpool correspondent, said that Fulham had hoped for at least double the final fee and perhaps even more. And yes, I agree, small clubs like Fulham should get more and fairer compensation for Harvey Elliott. I think it's really like it's basically benefiting the big clubs even more, and that just doesn't make sense. Fulham should get at least 8 to 10 million for Harvey Elliott, considering what a great player he is already. Given Elliott's recent record-breaking feats, he became the youngest ever Premier League player before he left Fulham, and he has since become the youngest player ever to start a game for Liverpool. And his excellent form for Blackburn this season, plenty are getting excited about him. In the end, the fee looks heavily weighted in Liverpool's favour. Plenty of people at Anfield expect him to become a first-teamer, even if the path is a very tough path to take. In years to come, that £4 million figure could well look slim. Indeed, Liverpool could likely sell him for much more than that already. They won't, because he will return to Anfield at the end of the season. All the better for his experience in the Championship, and Fulham's loss is very much Liverpool's gain. So yeah, I feel a little bit sorry for Fulham, not gonna lie. Even though this benefits Liverpool, I don't think that should be the way. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comments below about everything we talked about, and thanks for watching. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.